Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Drama Flavored Coffee. This story comes from the subreddit Relationship Advice, posted by Cowgirl1 and 2. My husband, 30 male, is having an affair and suddenly wants to divorce me, 31 female, after a happy marriage. My husband and I have a great relationship normally. We are best friends. We do many things together. We share the household responsibilities. We both have stable careers. We have inside jokes and even a sort of made-up language. I work really hard to be a good wife, albeit I am not perfect. However, I even started going to therapy 2 years ago to challenge myself. I cook, I clean, I work hard, I'm handy, I make lunches, I am generous, and spoil him with things like that. I like to host, I take care of myself and maintain my appearance. I let him do what he wants, go out with the boys, whatever. We have been together for 8 years, married for 4 years. In 2020, he had an affair with his work colleague. He had spent several previous months talking to her and gaslighting me when I noticed a sudden shift in his communication with me and our relationship. One day, he suddenly told me he wanted a divorce without any real explanation other than he doesn't love me anymore and he sees me as more of a best friend than a wife. He left that night to go stay with a friend and I had a nervous breakdown. After some time passed and some sleuthing, I figured out where he was and that he was with his affair partner. I confronted him about this. He was angry initially. He kept in contact with me and flip-flopped about coming home or staying with her. Eventually, I gave him an ultimatum and he came home. We worked hard to repair our relationship, went to marriage counseling, and I never hung the affair over his head. I just wanted to move forward. He gave me all his passwords and said I could access his accounts when I wanted to, but I never bothered because it felt weird. As counseling went on, he was saying that he was happy, things were going really well, that he had been putting in the effort to recognize my love language, which he had, and that I had been an understanding partner throughout. 2021, we had a pretty great year and shared some memorable experiences. He started talking to me about wanting children, talked about names with me, bought baby items with me, and told me to make an appointment to get my IUD out. In September, I worked out of town for 3 weeks, but we talked every day on the phone, shared pics, and texted. He continued to talk about kids until almost end of November. At the beginning of December, I noticed he started drinking more, gaming more, staying up way later, and seemed more distant than usual. I talked to him about it, and he said he might have SAD. I let it go because he was going to see a psychiatrist to be diagnosed for whatever was going on with him. The psychiatrist diagnosed him with ADHD and Class B traits of bipolar and narcissistic personality disorder. We still had a decent December, but I was feeling the effects of his distance on my emotions. Eventually, on Boxing Day, we were at a friend's house, his friend. His friend had been drinking and lost his ever-loving mind at me for a comment that did not warrant it. I started crying, and my husband sat idly by and did nothing to support me. When we got home, I asked him why he didn't, and he became defensive, saying that maybe he's not the kind of man I need. I immediately recognized these red flags and asked to see his phone. He pretended he couldn't find it at first. Then he got it and went to hand it to me, but changed his mind and said, "Actually, I'm setting a boundary. I'm not letting you see it," and pulled it back. I told him he had lost that privilege the last time he cheated on me. Sure enough, when I opened his phone, he was having a conversation with a girl and calling me his roommate. I questioned him about this, and he admitted he had been talking to her since the end of November, beginning of December, and he knew her from his home city. I asked if they sexted, and he said they had shared nudes with one another. I asked if they had said they love each other after 1 month of talking, and he said they had. I told him to cut her off if he wanted to work on our marriage again, and he said he would. We started marriage counseling weekly instead of monthly. He told me he wanted to work on things with me, and if he didn't, he wouldn't be going to counseling. I confronted the other woman, and she said, "I know what I'm doing, and I don't give a fuck." Nice. He never cut the girl off, despite my boundary, which enraged me. His excuse was that it traumatized him to let people go. We separated but lived in the same home, and he said he would go to therapy more for himself. Anyways, January 2022 goes by, and we are still separated. He still attends weekly counseling with me. He insists he still wants to work on things. Then he makes plans to go to his home city. His parents bought him tickets with points, and he said he's going for a month to heal and spend time with family. I asked him if he was planning to see his affair partner who lives there. He said originally 100% he was, but that he would just not have any relationships, including the break from ours. He left. About 4 days into his trip, I get a scathing text message from him, and then his partner there tells me when I reply, he's busy. From there forward, he flip-flopped about our relationship and continued to see this girl. About 7 days into his trip, he announced he wanted a divorce and that he was moving back there. He applied for a job there and quit his government job here. He said he wanted to sell our house and try to do everything as cheap as possible. He then proceeded to block me and many mutual friends. Then he began posting about being in love with this girl on his stories, including today for Valentine's, and is clearly infatuated with her as he posts heart eye emojis on all her pictures. People see this and send it to me. To be clear, from what I have heard from people who know her and me, she is an obvious downgrade both personality-wise and physical appearance, so that doesn't make sense. He seems to want to go through with the divorce, but hasn't put in any of the work to break down fees associated, get the house appraised, get a lawyer, anything. I have been dealing with it all. Anyways, I guess I just feel confused and hurt. I don't know why this is happening when we had a seemingly great marriage, and he was literally just talking to me about having kids. I know that he probably has affair fog and feels affair limerence. However, I wonder if he will ever change his mind or if this is what he's really going through with. Part of me knows I don't deserve this, and part of me wants to work on things again. Okay, personal opinion. Sweetie. You gotta let it go. You gotta let him go. He doesn't respect you at all. I'm not sure if he ever did. And you need to respect yourself. You need to want more for yourself than this. He does not deserve you. And even if he didn't say the words, I don't want you. I mean, he said, I don't want you when he asked for the divorce. But even if he didn't say the words, I don't want you, he said it with his actions. When he cheated on you multiple times and left you multiple times, he said it. He said, I don't want to be with you. Don't let a man tell you I don't want you more than once. And I understand you love him, but you have to love yourself. And right now it doesn't seem that way. You deserve to be happy. You deserve a man who's going to put you first. You deserve a man who's not going to disrespect you. And thank God you didn't have children with this man, because he sounds just awful. And the last thing you want is to have a child with an awful person who's just going to make your life miserable for the rest of your life, or at least for 18 years. If by any chance he does change his mind and wants you back, don't take him back. This is a repeat cycle where things are fine, he cheats on you, and he goes to therapy, comes back, things are fine, he cheats on you, goes to therapy, comes back. You know, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You're 31, you're still young, you have time to meet that person who's going to cherish you and respect you and love you, and you can still have kids. Don't waste your time on this guy who is just pushing you away, but for some reason you keep wanting to pull him back. Okay, so let's go to the comments. Nitro Red Design says, you did not have a seemingly great marriage. He's been trying to leave for years. Let him. I'm sorry, get an attorney and find out what you need to do. Get STD, STI testing, be strong, and stop trying so hard to keep someone who wants to leave. Patterson's old lady says, your first paragraph describes this wonderful relationship that is just a fantasy. He has had 2 affairs on you now. He doesn't love you, and you seem to have lost your self-respect. Just because he wants to throw you out doesn't mean that you're rubbish. Alien Princess Pasta says, whether he changes his mind or not, it's not fair to you. You aren't his toy or backup plan to just be there for him when he decides he's ready. Do not have a kid with this man to try and fix things. It won't fix shit. And then you have the stress of co-parenting. Odds are he is going to come crawling back with his tail between his legs once he realizes the grass isn't always greener. I know you were with him for a long time, but to be honest, I think you deserve better out of a partner. And I think you know you deserve better. This sucks. He sucks. I'm sure it's going to hurt for a long time, but you will be better off. It's not fair to you to have to babysit your husband so he won't cheat. Like, what the fuck? Trash behavior. Good luck, and remember, you deserve to be treated better. Mizzy Von Muffling says, you set yourself on fire to keep him warm, and what good did it do? He didn't appreciate all your efforts, and you are being left behind with all of this confusion and hurt. I get it, but you took him back and expected things to turn around, which they didn't. Do counseling only for you, to not necessarily better yourself, but to get support and to deal with all of this. You let him use you, and you need to fight back. You deserve better. OP, I really, really hope that you come to realize that you deserve more and you deserve better, because it sounds like you're a very loving person and you deserve to have someone love you back just as much in return. And you're not going to get that from your husband, your current husband. It's not going to happen. So you need to just divorce him, cut ties, and continue to go to therapy. And I hope that you recognize that you deserve more. I feel like loving other people is easy and loving yourself is the hardest. So I hope you get that one day. I hope you love yourself so that you can accept love from the right person. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Drama Flavored Coffee. If you like this video, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel for new content. See you guys next time.